Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final third. And today we're going to be looking at the Premier League Match Week 14 results. Obviously, the game week has just finished. Currently, we just finished watching the Man United West Ham game. We watched it together. We'll discuss that later. But yeah, the game's just finished for this week. And at the end of the video, same as the previous video, we will include the Premier League Match Week 15. Obviously, like we said, tight schedule, so we've had to do two videos in one, really. But Al, before we get into discussing the results, do you want to reveal the player from the last video?
Yes, it was Diego Costa. Legendary Premier League striker. Chelsea could probably do with him right now, for being honest. And yeah, what a guy.
Probably their last top-class striker they've had in a while, to be fair. But
100%.
Also, just a little disclaimer before we get into the video. As you can see, Hassan isn't on this video. He's busy doing some uni work, so he won't be in this video. Hopefully he'll be on the next one. And yeah, let's just jump straight into it. So the first game was Bournemouth vs Everton. Everton winning 1-0 away. Now, I feel like, because Hassan's not here, usually he talks about the other side. I feel like, let me start discussing a bit more. Usually I ask the questions and let you guys talk, but we'll do one question each. So, Bournemouth, they've been on a very bad run of games, Was it like some really, really poor run of games? They drew against West Ham. They lost like 4-0 to Aston Villa, and they lost like 3-0 to Man City in the last couple games. What do you think their main problem is in terms of their team?
Look, I don't know. It's really hard to really say. Maybe they're starting to get a bit found out, you could possibly say, because I don't think there's been much change in terms of the team itself. However, you could even look in the City game. They got absolutely tactically masterclassed. You could clearly see that Man City were playing to their weaknesses and knew what to do and where to target them. And I just think maybe that's what's wrong. They're just getting, found out. This and that. Maybe, look, because for me, I just don't see much difference in the team in terms of players that have come and gone in, for example. So I don't think you can really root it on that. Obviously, you could argue, yes, it's the defence that's clearly causing problems because they're conceding way too many goals now. But it's the same defense from the beginning. So what exactly has changed that's made them get so much worse? And again, I just think maybe they're getting caught out because the way they press, I think is when it gets caught and like teams play on it. Yeah, it can really screw them over realistically, and obviously it happened against City. They lost like 3-1. Villa, they lost 4-0. Even like against Everton, they're losing 1-0, which I think is a very poor loss from them. And yeah, and also just not finishing chances as well. Obviously, we saw it against West Ham. I can't remember how many shots they had, but the fact that they did not win that game, in my opinion, I think is also poor. Look, they obviously did great to come back into that game. However, with the amount of chances they had towards the end, it's really poor that they didn't win that game. So again, it's a culmination of things, but I also think they're starting to get found out in terms of their tactics. So, yeah.
Yeah, on just a little extra point on Bournemouth, they had more possession and they always seem to, dominate possession, pass the ball around a lot. But like you said, the lack of quality in terms of finishing. Let's go on to the Everton side of things, because I feel like it wasn't that far apart in terms of possession and passing, really. It was quite an even game, you could probably say. And Everton, I think, just sort of gritted out an away win, which, good for them. They did it against United at Old Trafford, and now they've done it against Bournemouth away as well. So fair play to them. But is it a sign of consistency? I mean, they did just lose 4-1 to Newcastle at home. But a lot of teams, it's kind of strange because some teams are doing really well at home and terrible away. Some teams are doing terrible at home and great away. You know what I mean? It's kind of strange. I feel like Everton are one of those teams as well. Again, it's a new stadium as well. Maybe they're building up the atmosphere. There's a lot of things you got to keep into account with Everton and their new stadium. But, Jack Grealish being a great player for them again. And, he's a loan signing, but I feel like they should definitely make that a permanent one when they get the chance. I feel like, arguably their best player. I mean, they have great players, Drewsbury Hall, Iliman Ndiaye. We've talked about all of them, and how important they are, and how, Everton are doing very well this season. Obviously, even it's so close this season where literally you can lose a game and it seems like you're miles off, and then win a game and you seem like you're right there. Do you know what I mean? And then amongst it. So
Yeah,
yeah, Everton,
100%.
they're currently 10th, but they're only 3 points behind fourth. So do you know what I mean? It's really, really close.
Yeah,
This Premier League table. It's a great Premier League. I don't think we've had a Premier League this close in a long time. So yeah,
yeah,
let's move on to the next game. And speaking about close games, mind you, this will be the Premier League game of the season, 100%.
yeah,
Fulham versus Man City. Man City win 5-4. Now, in any level of football, that kind of scoreline is mental. But in the Premier League, for Fulham to, I want to say, come back, even though they didn't really come back. They were 5-1 down to make it 5-4 is quite impressive. Showing the grit. Is it showing a bit of confidence, do you think, Al, for Fulham's side? To go against Man City like that, be 5-1 down at home, being able to sort of, especially Chukwueze, who made a
yeah.
massive impact when he came on.
Hmm.
Do you think now maybe Fulham can definitely kick on from this? I know it's a loss, but it's a good performance, I would say.
Yeah, you're totally right. It's definitely a great performance, and it shows a lot of resilience to be able to come back into the game. I'm absolutely devastated for them that they wasn't able to get a result out of it. I think they definitely deserved one, especially towards the end when they brought on Kevin as well. He's a very exciting player for them. Obviously, their record signing as well. And he came on, nearly got an assist. To be fair to him, played really well. And look, they all played really well, to be fair to them, once they were 5-1 down. Obviously, you got to look at the fact that they did go 5-1 down in the first place and understand there's clear problem somewhere, defensively. Yes, they came, started to make a comeback. So that will definitely give them a bit of confidence going forward. They obviously also beat Sunderland. Not that, was it? I can't remember if it was the game before. Was it?
Yeah, I think it was. They beat them 1-0.
Yeah, no, I know they. Yeah, so I know they beat them, but I can't remember if it was the game before. But nonetheless, my point is this will give them a bit of confidence. It shows that they have the quality. All right, Chukwueze, great player, clearly showing his quality. Came on 2 goals. Yeah, you've also got a player like Kevin, like I just mentioned, really quality player. That guy really excited me. Like the way he was running down the wing and just like absolutely dominating it was crazy, and the balls he was putting in again were crazy. So. Yeah, obviously, I believe they do have the quality. They obviously got Smith Rowe as well. I think he's a great player. Wobie, great player. And obviously, you got Raul Jimenez. He's a great player. Maybe they still have to look at a striker in the transfer window in the summer because obviously Jimenez is getting on in age and stuff like that, and injuries and all that. So you're gonna have to look for a backup. I know they got the Muniz, but I don't think he's been that good for them, unfortunately. So yeah, I think they do have the quality to go on now and do better and probably get themselves in and amongst the other teams in the league. But yeah, I don't know, it's just they need to obviously find a bit of consistency. But to be fair to them, I don't think any team except for Arsenal have been consistent in the league. So what I mean, this league's just, it's crazy. We haven't seen a season like this in the Premier League in a very, very long time, and it's just lovely to watch, to be fair. And what a game they put out, both the teams, so fair play to them. Yeah.
Honestly, it's one of the games. You could say it's one of the top games in Premier League history. 100%. I would say that. For it to be so exciting till the last minute, where Fulham looked like, and when you look at even the stats, they had more possession, they had more passes. It was actually on paper very, very close, and I feel like they probably deserved the win if you take all things into account. But again, conceding 5 goals to be 5-1 down, that's poor from them. But on the Man City side of things, that's really poor from them to, I think even Pep said, wild game. He said he was going to lose his hair even though he doesn't have any.
Yeah,
I know,
I saw that post.
So, yeah, obviously that comment, it just shows they have defensive cracks. Now, where it really was from, you can maybe say it's on the fullbacks. Like you said, Kevin came on and made a big impact, and, sort of opened them up a little bit. Chukwueze's a right winger. I know, so he's sort of making problems. Again, Nico O'Reilly's a young player, so he's got to learn that trade in the left-back position. And Mateus Nunes isn't really a defender, I would say. I mean, he was a midfielder not too long ago. Attacking-wise, they're looking very good. Foden looks like he's back to his best. I mean, after that assist to Eze, mate, just kickstart everything, you know what I mean?
Exactly, mate.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, but no, on a real though, like, obviously Haaland getting his 100th Premier League goal.
That guy.
In the quickest in the quickest amount of games. What was it, 111? This guy is a phenomenon.
It's 10 less games than the last person, who's Alan Shearer, who did it in 121, which is mental to think about.
Do you know what I mean? And Alan Shearer, how good was he? You know what I mean?
I mean, he's still the Premier League top goal scorer. So.
I feel like listen, if Haaland stays in the Prem for the rest of his career, he will smash that record easily.
100%.
No doubt, because he's in the best team in the league in terms of creating chances. And I feel like, again, the attack did no wrong, really. It's on the defence.
Yeah.
Now, they've been sort of defensively shaky throughout the whole season. They've lost games. They've drawn games. They've won games. Leeds. Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? It's something they have to definitely look at investing in. I feel like they need a top centre-back.
100%.
And probably a top fullback as well, a defensive fullback. They need something along those lines to sort of fix that up. Other than that, thank you, Manchester City and Fulham, for giving us a great game in the Premier League. Not many high-scoring games you see like that, so really appreciate you guys entertaining us. So let's move on to the next game, and it is Newcastle versus Tottenham. It finished 2-2. I'm pretty sure Romero got a brace, if I'm not mistaken.
He did. He got a penalty and a bicycle kick goal, I believe.
And a bicycle kick. Yeah, unbelievable. No, I think it was a diving header.
Sorry.
Diving header.
Oh, yeah. I got a pen. No, sorry. The other team had a pen. My bad.
Yeah, Anthony Gordon scored a pen. Okay. Listen, let's just say that this game was more near the end. It literally, within the last 20 minutes where all the goals happened.
Yeah, literally.
On the Newcastle side of things, Al, they were winning, obviously, and they were the better team. They had more possession, they had way more shots, and they bottled it in the end of the day, conceding so late on.
Yes.
To be 2-1 up, conceding in the 95th minute. Again, Newcastle have been on a recent decent run of games. Is this something that they should be worried about, or is this something you think that,
honestly,
is sort of normal in the process?
Honestly, bro, they should have won that game. And the only person I think is to blame is the keeper. Because how the hell has he let that last goal in? I'm sorry, but that is genuinely shocking. Bro, it's like his controller just disconnected. Like, what the hell's going on? Why is he just reacted so fucking late? Honestly, Ramsdale, he's a weird one, man. He's a very weird one because he can make some great saves, but genuinely, and it's funny because I remember him saying in an interview before that he loses focus sometimes, and I don't think that's what's necessarily happened there. He's obviously reacted just very late, and some people have tried to argue the fact that, he's seen it late. I don't think that's the truth. I've seen an angle where you could clearly see that his vision has not been blocked. He sees the shot, and he's just dived way too late, and he should really be making that save. And I think if Pope is in goals, they win that game, if I'm being perfectly honest. Now, I can't remember the first goal, so I can't remember how good it was exactly. But I think
it was a great goal from...
Yeah, it was a great goal, so I don't think anyone's... sorry, I meant for Tottenham now. But...
it was like a cross and a diving header from...
Exactly,
Romero,
so it wasn't necessarily...
Can't really do much about that.
Exactly, but the second goal is just shambolic, really, but from Ramsdale, and yeah, I mean, look, if they should be worried, I wouldn't say so, because again, look, I know Tottenham aren't necessarily the best in the league at the moment, but they're also not an opponent to be, shaken off, like, you know what I mean. You shouldn't. They are a threat. Yeah, exactly. You shouldn't underestimate them. However, who have Newcastle got next? They got.
I'll have a look now. Give me 2 seconds.
I believe they've got
Burnley at home.
Yeah. So, look, I think they'll win that game for sure. Obviously, we're going to talk about that later, but I think they'll win that game. I think that will be, like you say, they've had a bit of good form. Obviously, that win against Everton's definitely boosted them. What's the word? Flipping, like, not momentum. Morale. Yeah, that's it. Their morale, and bro, I think they'll go on to beat Burnley, and that will probably help them to go push ahead as well in the games going after that. So, again, I don't think it's much of a worry because they are a great quality team, and I think they're very well balanced as well. I think going forward, they're good. In the midfield, they got one of the best midfields in the league, and even in the defence now with Thiago cooking. Genuinely, I think, look, as long as Lewis Hall plays, it's a different ball game. I think Dan Burn's just so poor at fullback. He's just not a fullback. So when Lewis Hall plays for them, though, like I said, different ball game. But yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I'll mention the Tottenham side of things. Listen, they've not been in a good run of form for a while now. their last convincing game was, we don't include the Champions League, because again, the Champions League was against Copenhagen, and to be fair, that was a good game for them. But in terms of Premier League, because obviously we're discussing the Premier League results right now, the last convincing game they had was they beat Everton away 3-0. And since then, they've lost to Chelsea 1-0. They've drawn with United 2-2. They lost to Arsenal 4-1. They lost 2-1 to Fulham, and they just drew 2-2. So a very, very bad run of games. And I feel like the only reason they're in, they've got a result is because of individual brilliance from Romero, their centre-back. And their centre-backs have been very important for them this season. So don't take anything away from them, but that just shows how poor the rest of the team is. 100%. How is Van de Ven and Romero both your best players in terms of goal scoring and defending? That's not sustainable. Especially the way Romero scored his 2 goals. Brilliant goals. Like, in terms of him, don't take anything away from him. To attempt that bicycle kick, to get that last minute equaliser is great. And also the goal he scored too, the first one, was a great diving header. So fair play to the guy. But on a Tottenham side of things, they really need to lock in. Now, I remember Al was saying that Thomas Frank is his manager to watch. And to be fair, there's definitely an eye on him now. But probably in a bad light, because it's not good. They're not playing well. They're not getting the results they need, or I was going to say deserve. They are getting the results they deserve. They're losing most games, and deservedly so. This won't be enough, I don't think, for them. And their next game is...
it's just the midfield, I'd say. The midfield is just not creative enough.
Their next game is Brentford at home.
Yeah, they just don't have any ball carriers as well in the midfield. It's not just...
100%. I feel like Bergveld is that... But again, he's too young. Like, he was the player of the season last year, but it does take time to embed. And listen, Xavi Simons, they brought him in. He's been horrible. Yeah. Like we said about James Maddison, he's injured, and it's quite sad. But he's become very injury prone, so it's not very good for them. But they're playing Brentford at home next. That's not an easy game at all. And with their home form, I don't see them winning that game, to be honest. So they really need to lock in, and it starts against Thomas Frank's old side, so we have to see if they can get a result in that game. So, yeah. Moving on to the next game, another game that is one of the Premier League games of the season, and it is Brighton vs Aston Villa. It finished 4-3 to Aston Villa. Another game where
you possibly? Oh, it depends what order. To be fair, you've got the games in, but okay.
I've gone in the order of the Premier League app. So
okay, no worries. Sorry, I just got a different order here.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I'm on. So Brighton, Aston Villa, 4-3, unbelievable game. Again, another one of those games where you just got to give hats off to the team, to the teams involved. I mean, I saw something about Brighton actually sort of robbing the lead. Apparently, I don't know, at the beginning of the game, some of the goals they scored were very lucky, or not deserved or anything.
There was an own goal, to be fair.
They've been very inconsistent this season, Brighton. And again, it shows defensively they're not great either. There's complete different to last season. I feel like last season they dominated games, where this season there's nothing going on for them. Really.
It's funny you say that, because I saw something like a stat. Obviously, they've won 80 games, drawn 80 games, lost 80 games, or something crazy like that. And it said basically, it was like saying they're the most consistent team in the Premier League. And genuinely, it does.
Give me the other way around.
It's probably the other way. To be fair, my head's going right now, so I can't really think of the. But yeah, it's like the most consistent, inconsistent. Was that it, or the most inconsistent? Anyway, you get the point I'm trying to say. Yeah, team in the league, and it just shows, because like genuinely, like we always say, oh yeah, they're doing really well in the league, but then they're starting to become a bit of, like, I don't know, they're just inconsistent, really. And it's funny because they're like not that like in a bad position in the league. Obviously, they were fifth before the Matchweek started, and it's just crazy because we were saying that they're so inconsistent, but it just also shows obviously how close the league is. But yeah, no, Brighton, it's like win, loss, draw, loss. Like, you know what I mean? It's just very inconsistent. And quite frankly, Baliba has not been nowhere near his best this season, which is definitely a major factor for why they're not playing well. What else? Like, look, if you're a Brighton fan, just let us know what exactly is it that you might be struggling. Like, what area of the field is it that you're probably struggling in? Because I think, look, maybe going forward they could probably add a bit more. But I think Welbeck's been really good this season for them. And yeah, maybe it's the midfield. It probably is the midfield, if I'm being honest. Like I said again, Baliba's just not been at his best. And when he was, he is so crucial for them. And he was literally dictating the play for them. So the fact that he's not, doing well is probably why they're not doing so well and why they're so inconsistent. So, yeah, it's probably where the problems are at, really.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, Brighton, to be fair, over the last couple of games, they were unbeaten for 4. They beat Leeds.
Well.
They drew. That's why they got themselves into the position they're in now. But again, this result is not a good one. To be at home and concede 4 goals is awful. Even though you're playing a side in Aston Villa, who right now look like, an outsider for the league, which is kind of, listen, it changes every single week. We could say this, we could say this and that. But fair play to them again. Like I remember we were saying at the beginning of the season how their transfer window wasn't good. And again, to be fair, I don't think many of their new signings are playing. If I the fucking double check now, no, not really. I mean, they had.
Really. I mean, Marlon, but that wasn't this season.
I mean, Sancho's on the bench; he hasn't been used. Lindelof was on the bench; he wasn't used.
Yeah.
Who else did they have? They loaned in someone from Liverpool.
What was Javier Elliott.
Elliot Anderson. Elliot Anderson. No, what am I talking about? Javier Elliott. Sorry, Javier Elliott.
Yeah.
He's not on the bench either now.
Yeah.
Again, they're kind of relying on the team that they had. And listen, Ollie Watkins, they really did want to keep him, and they kept him. And
he's been great.
He's a major reason why, in this game especially. Got 2 goals. Daniel Mallon's been very good for them as well, getting very important goals too.
I've always thought he'd be a good player for them, and I just don't think he got the game time he's deserved, really. And every time he does stuff when he comes on, he does have an impact.
But yeah, again, he was off the bench, and it's a very good cameo appearance.
Apparently, it's the quickest goal a player scored, coming on, basically he scored in 4 seconds of coming on. Yeah, I don't even know if it's about coming off the. Yeah, no, coming off the bench. You're right. Yeah, so it was in 4 seconds. I saw. Do you know how crazy that is?
That is mental. To be fair.
Yeah.
Fair play to him for that. You know what I mean? There's not really much more you can say about the game. Listen, it was a great game.
Great for the neutral.
Villa showed how good they are attacking wise, but again, it also shows defensively how poor this is. But listen, it's probably another one of those games, like the City game, where it's just gung ho.
Exactly.
Sometimes games like this happen. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's really tight and literally you can't penetrate. Listen.
I get what you're saying. No, I get what you're saying though. No, but I get what you're saying.
But other than that, sometimes
it's just a style of play. They're both clearly going for the win. So it's just
exactly.
And when that kind of thing happens, it opens up the game like big time, and that's why
goals. Should have phrased that a bit better. It wasn't really.
Yeah. It's all right.
Anyway, yeah, don't worry about it. Great game. There's not really much more we can add.
Hope to see more like it, really. That's it.
To see more like it, exactly.
That's all you can say.
Yeah, and that's it, really. We'll move on to the next game. A game that was much more boring, to say the least, and that is Burnley versus Crystal Palace. An expected Crystal Palace win, but only by the 1 goal. 1-0 to Palace. I do not know why this is not loading. Just 2 seconds. Where am I? Here it is. Okay. Yeah. So, looking at the game, I mean, Burnley, like we said, Burnley are actually decent at home, to be fair to them. And they were probably the better side. They had much more of the ball, which, to be fair, that's kind of how Crystal Palace play. They rely on low possession and hit on the counter-attack. But they had more shots. But again, I feel like with a lot of the teams in the league, clinicalness is something that they lack. I mean, you look at Aston Villa, you look at Man City, and they have strikers who are consistent and doing very, very well.
Yes.
This is the difference. And unfortunately, this could be the reason they get relegated.
Yeah, 100%. And look, we've said it, with promoted teams, the problem is they come up, the team's just it's not good enough quality. And that's what's happened with Burnley. Of course, they've come up, haven't really signed any good players. And unfortunately, they're just a championship quality team in the Premier League at the moment. And unfortunately for them, it's why they're suffering. Yes, usually, look, the home form is the only thing that can really carry a promoted team, through the season. But unfortunately for Burnley, yes, it's been their, best thing for them. However, it's just not enough. And because they're not clinical enough, it's really, making them suffer big time. Because look at this game, 4 shots on targets, don't get a goal. unfortunately, those, when you're not clinical enough, you're losing these games. It's going to cost you. Simple as that. And when you got a team like Palace who are clinical with the chances they get, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's just you don't stand a chance really, and yeah, it's just unfortunate. Like I said, it's just Burnley. They're a championship quality team in the Premier League at the moment, and I can't see them staying up. And I mean, look, to be fair to them, it is Palace, so it's not necessarily an easy opponent at all. But they got to do better. They just got to do better, to be honest. But that's that really. There's not much more
I
to
agree.
say.
I feel like, especially now, I feel like the league is starting to shape up in terms
Yeah.
of the bottom and the top. The middle, it's like completely muddled up. Like anyone can finish anywhere, right? In terms of the bottom, sorry West Ham, and I know they
I
just
know.
got a good result against United, but the teams that are
I
down
know.
there, there's a bit of a point gap. You know what I mean? And again, anything can happen in this Premier League season. We've seen that. I mean, you never know. Wolves could escape relegation, but that's really unlikely at the moment. It's really sort of obvious. I feel like Wolves obviously rock bottom. Arsenal looking very likely to win the league, even though Man City are right on their tails. But like I said, there's the gap in the middle. That's where it's sort of at and where it's mixed up. Palace are well in amongst that. You know what I mean? They could
100%.
easily. I mean, they're fifth. You know what I mean? They're in the Champions League places, and rightfully so. They've been one of the better teams in the league. Again, there's I think every team, like you say, instead of Arsenal, except for Arsenal, have been very inconsistent. You know, and again, Crystal Palace also fall into that category. But I feel like how everybody else, they've been more consistent, if that makes sense.
I get you.
They've not had as many losses as the other teams and not as many draws. So, it's just like I said, it's just a great Premier League season to watch as a neutral. I mean, I'm not a neutral, but we're both not neutrals. But what I'm saying is, like, as a neutral, you're gonna enjoy watching the Premier League, and to look from the outside in, it's unbelievable
Yeah.
how close it is.
100%.
But again, they've been very, very good at scraping wins, close games. Getting 1-0 wins, getting 2-1 wins. Every single game they play is really close. Defensively, they're very tight, and counter attacks is kind of what they rely on. And yeah, I mean, clearly that's how they won this game. So fair play to them. Let's move on to the next game. The next game is Wolves versus Nottingham Forest, and unfortunately for Wolves, it's another loss for them. So yeah, I mean, Al, what do we think about Wolves? Really, there's not really much more you can say.
Yeah, not really. It's just kind of sad, to be honest. I can't imagine being a Wolves fan at the moment. Look, ain't any better at West Ham, but the fact that they've genuinely not won a game still, and when we're more nearly halfway through or whatever. But yeah, it's just it is sad for them. And there's not really much you can say. It's just insane lack of quality. I think maybe the sacking of the manager was way too late, if I'm being honest. And yeah, it's just a culmination of a lot of things. I don't think it's just based off this season or even last season, but more, the last, few seasons or so. No direction. Instead of going on an upwards trajectory, they've gone on a more of a downwards trajectory. Yes, last season they only survived thing, but they had quality players. Whereas now they're at the end of it now. I think with their time in the Premier League, I think this is it. They're going to go back down to the Championship, and I don't even see them coming straight back up, if I'm being perfectly honest. And I think even the players that are good, like Strand Larson and even like João Gomez, are probably going to leave. And if they leave in the summer as well, then like I say, I can't see them coming straight back up from the Championship unless they can somehow find a new investor, because I hear that I think they're looking for that. So unless they find a new investor who puts a lot of effort into the club and tries to turn them around, which again I don't see it happen anytime soon, then yeah, it's just really depressing, really.
Yeah, it's sad, to be honest with you, and it's like almost every single team that plays against Forest, if you don't get a win, it's very disappointing. And yeah, I mean, in this game
I
they
think you
got
meant Wolves,
dominated.
by the way. You said
Yeah, I
Forest,
did
didn't
actually.
you? Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
fine.
said Forest. Because I was looking at the stats, and yeah. Anyway, yeah, Wolves are just not good at all. Like you mentioned. Maybe yeah. I don't know. It's just hard. It's really it's quite sad to see, because I remember Wolves of a couple seasons ago, the ones where they even qualified for the Europa League. and they were very, very good, and they had a much better team. They had a much better spine. They had Ruben Neves in the midfield. They had a good defense. Players in attack like Raul Jimenez and Adama Traore linking up for them. Joao Moutinho in the midfield as well. They had all these great players. Nelson Semedo, Mateus Cunha, Agnori. All of these great players that have gone to leave the club and do well outside. Wolves haven't replaced them correctly at all. And it looks like they will be facing a drop this year. But on the Forest side of things kind of look like they've changed. I mean, against under Sean Dyche. I don't know. Again, they're starting to push themselves in that mid-table sort of group of teams. They're kind of 4 points off that 19th, 12th. Actually, 14th. Sorry, there's so many teams right now that are in the same position. From 14th onwards, they're not that far off. They're 16th themselves. They are 4 points behind that. They can probably get themselves in. Okay, not a European charge, but I would say stay in the league. You know what I mean? Even though at the beginning of the season it looked like they could have got relegated.
True.
I would say that it's a good result, but it's an expected result. As 100%. Like we said, against Wolves, everybody expects to win. Hopefully United can next week. But yeah, they probably should have scored more. They had 6 shots on target. It just shows that the goalkeeper played well for Sam Johnson. He's trying his best to, do Wolves a favour, but it doesn't seem like it's helping at all. There's not much you can say. It's a 1-0 win, quite a boring game. And yeah, that's it really. Not much we can really mention. But we'll go on to another game where the league leaders win 2-0 against Brentford. And, Brentford, great team, but they can't do it. They couldn't beat Arsenal away. Al, I feel like you should give us your thoughts about Arsenal. It shows that their depth is very, very good. Gyökeres was out and Moreno scored a great header. They're winning and they're being consistent. Do you think that potentially this year could, out of all years, is this their year?
No, I think they'll bottle it again, to be honest. I just think with these lot, I don't know. Look, is this their best chance? Probably. But at the same time, you look at how close the other teams are and how close the league is and how bad they've been in big games. Chelsea, draw. City, draw. Sunderland, draw.
They lost to Liverpool
well. Loss. United is the only team in big team you could argue that they beat, but no offense to United, they're not at their best either. And that was
even
at the very start.
Game, they probably didn't.
And that was the first game of the season. And if they went for Bayinda, Man United probably get a result out of that. So realistically, they're just lucky that it was not was it Lamens and it was Bayinda at the time. But my point is, I was saying it like big games, and obviously they got a big game coming up next game against Villa. I don't know what will happen in that game. I wouldn't even be surprised if Villa get a result or even win that game, because I don't know what it is, but when it comes to big games, obviously they also lost Saliba and Gabriel at the moment, I believe. I think they're both maybe still injured. I'm not sure what their availability is saying, but obviously there's still a big win today. So in that game, so you got to give them credit. Brentford aren't a bad team whatsoever, but you expect Arsenal to win those games because you look at the team they have. The quality they have. They probably got the best. They definitely got the best team in the league in terms of on paper. The depth
as well.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. The depth is insane.
The rotation they did in the game,
Their second team is better than most people's first teams in the Premier League at the moment, and that shows their depth. But the fact that they're not more ahead in the league race, the title race, just gives me a reason for why I think they could easily bottle it. I think all it takes is, they drop a few more points and a team like City maybe find a bit more consistency, sign some more players in the January transfer window to help them get some more consistency. And then they'll catch up with them. It's simple as that. And obviously, they still have to go back to City, Liverpool, Chelsea, these teams. So if they drop points again in these kind of games, then they could easily drop the title. But again, let's talk about this game. They won. It was a good win. Fair play to them. But I think it was expected because we know how good they are. And when they play at their best, they just always comfortably win. But again, I don't know. It's just big games. They just seem to be bottling it, really. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal, I feel like you're a bit harsh with them. I know this season seems to be the most dominant they've been,
I'm
and
not
I
harsh with
feel
them.
like,
I'm not.
I feel like you are, to be honest.
Bro,
Like,
it's been three
I
seasons
get
they
what you're
finished
saying.
second. They're talking about a process. You haven't won anything. You have the
No,
best
no, I
team in the
agree
league.
previously, but looking at this
No.
season alone, listen, they've beaten Bayern Munich. You say they're not winning big games. They beat Bayern Munich. To get that result against Man City, I mean,
Yeah, look, no, fair
you gonna
play.
try
They
and take
did
something
beat
away from
Bayern
them?
Munich, but it's just we're talking. Obviously, I get it, fair play. But in the Premier League, it's the big games that they're dropping points, and these are the kind of games they need to win. And it was like that in the last
I
few
agree. No, but I
seasons.
agree. But again, you got to take that. Think about it. Man City are dropping games, points in big games. I mean, they dropped points against Arsenal. Think about it. They did. I mean, Villa. I mean, you wouldn't say that they're really a threat in terms of the
Oh, I
title. They
don't
are the
know about that,
closest team
man.
other than the rest. You never know. I mean, again, you never know. I mean, Chelsea, again, another team that drops a lot of points. I mean, Liverpool
Yeah,
were kind of out of the question of the title race, really, at this current moment in time.
yeah.
They're 11 points adrift, so I don't think they're going to be much in it. Let's not even mention United. Crystal Palace, maybe. Again, there's not been one team that's been consistently very, very good. I feel like all the teams have just been inconsistent, but Arsenal have been the most consistent. I think that's fair to say. Whether they keep that up and they can stay a bit more consistent than the rest, we'll have to wait and see. Because sometimes that's what you need, um, not to be the sort of best version of yourself, but just to be the best of the rest. If that
Mm.
makes sense. Brentford, on the other hand, in the league, they actually have more losses than wins, which is kind of unbelievable to think about. And they were dominated in this game. They didn't have a single shot on target. They didn't look like a threat. They had
To be fair, the
no
save that Raya
possession.
had to make from Shada was
That was a
crazy.
great save. That was a great save. Let's not take anything away from that. But I'm pretty sure it even came off an Arsenal defender, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I feel
Mm.
obviously that's a great save from Raya, but other than that, he had nothing to do in the game.
Yeah,
And Kelleher was really busy. He had to make 8 saves,
yeah,
and even for the goal that Saka scored, he probably should have done a lot better with that. I feel like his wrists weren't really strong, so he weren't able to keep the ball out the net. Yeah, Brentford away from home seems to be a bit of an issue. At home seems to be very good. Again, another very. I mean, they're not drawing many games at all. They've only drawn the one game. It's 6 wins, sorry, one draw and 7 losses. It's not really great. That's it just shows they can either beat you or lose to you. You know what I mean? That's it.
yeah.
So
But when you look at them, like we said, obviously the transfer window. Obviously they lost a lot of people, but they're still doing, I'd say
major
better than
respect. Don't take
expectations.
anything away from that.
Yeah,
They've beat expectations 100%. And Igor Thiago, I think he was on the bench last season, and obviously Wissa
yeah,
and Mbermo and Sharda, they were all playing ahead of him, and rightfully so. To be fair, last season, but this season he's come in and made a massive impact. And if it wasn't for him, they'd probably be in around the relegation zone. To be fair, so he's a major player for them. But obviously, if he doesn't score, who does? Obviously, you look at the
yeah,
game, and do you know what I mean? It's kind of a similar situation to Man City, even though Man City now, Foden's starting to score, Reinders, and yeah, do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's not a I mean, losing to Arsenal is not a bad thing. I
yeah.
just feel like yeah, you could probably do more in the game and be more of a threat. Let's move on to the next game, and that is Leeds versus Chelsea. Yeah, upset of the weekend probably we'd say.
Yeah,
Leeds won
100%.
3-1. Al, let's talk about Leeds, shall we? A team that are under pressure and need to sort of try and stay in the league as most teams want to. They've gone and got a massive result. What do you think about Leeds and maybe their chances of staying if they can
Honestly,
keep on getting good results like this?
yeah, I think their home form, like we've talked about before, Ellen Road's an absolute fortress, and it's, a difficult place to go for a lot of teams, and Chelsea have, been a victim of that this week. And look, Leeds, they're definitely not that bad. I think, look, fair play, because they're now above the relegation zone. However, I just don't think they have enough quality in the, like we talk about it so many times, but it's just true. I just don't think they have enough quality in the team, unfortunately, to keep up a good run of form and keep themselves in the league. But look, obviously it's not just them down there. You got West Ham, like we talked about, where they're 3 points above us now, I believe, or two. So as long as they can grind out some wins, some results, get some draws, they could stay in the league. Again, I just think maybe it's the quality. Calvert-Lewin, they brought him in hoping that he'd be, a key player for them. It hasn't really worked out fully, if I'm being
he scored
honest.
in this game.
Yes, but has he scored enough? No, let's be honest, not really.
Yeah, agreed.
So yeah, this game, but Chelsea, that's just, like we say, it was a shock result. We weren't expecting it, but fair play to Leeds. Like we say, at home they can win any game really, because it is a fortress. It's a hard place to go. But I think the only thing they really lack is just the quality, which is obviously the most important thing. And yeah, good win, massive win, but obviously they got to try and keep that up. But that's what you're gonna we'll have to wait and see if they can do it.
Yeah, fair play to them. Great result. They had very little possession, but on the counter attack, they were the better team. Sometimes possession doesn't mean everything. Being able to hit on the counter attack, especially with the players they have, quick players, dangerous players. Some of the goals they scored were great. And Chelsea defensively, we said it. We said it, and the goalkeeper, even Robert Sanchez, he's been good for them this season. To be fair, credit where credit's due, but in this game he wasn't very good.
You can't really blame him for this, though.
I wouldn't say him for this, but I feel like he can do better. It's the defense, really. The centre backs tossing made an awful mistake.
Toss that game.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, honestly, he's been awful, and they haven't got a centre back. For a team like Chelsea, you'd expect that one solid centre back, and to be fair, Chalobah was playing right back. Now
Chalobah's usually their best centre back, but again, like you say, if
he wasn't playing centre back. So they played Badiashile, and Badiashile has been awful. You can ask any Chelsea fan.
Yeah, 100%. Not just him, but Tosin as well.
And then you even think about someone like Axel Disasi. He's playing for the under-21s, and honestly, I saw the goal that he conceded. He got destroyed by that 17-year-old.
Yeah, bro. Look, we talked about it too many times. Defensively, they need to invest big in the defense, because it's the only problem in the squad, I believe. Because midfield they're good, going forward they're good. Definitely going forward, they got enough people. But it's just the defense.
Also, they over-rotated, I believe, because they took out Gusto and Reece James.
Well, that was stupid.
To take out those two they're probably some of their best players. Both very
they underestimated Leeds.
Versatile.
Clearly.
Exactly, they underestimated Leeds, and look, they played. Their main issue is defense, and they made too many changes in their defense. Do you know what I mean? Their defense normally isn't very good, but now you've basically just cost yourself an opportunity to go even closer to they would have been level on points with Villa, if I'm not mistaken.
100%.
And obviously they've lost that chance now, so very poor from them. Let's move on to the next game. Liverpool vs Sunderland, 1-1 draw. I feel like now it's kind of expected Liverpool to drop points now, because this whole season, like we've said, they have just been awful and they've not been good at all. Al, what do you think about Liverpool, and can they recover from this season?
Can they recover from this season? I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. It's a very weird situation. Obviously, they won the title and now they're having such an awful season, and it's really... Is it hard to... I think it might be hard to pinpoint exactly where it's all gone wrong. I think it's in the culmination of things. I don't think it is just one thing. I think maybe we overestimated the transfer window in that sense, overrated it. Not necessarily because of the players that came in, but there wasn't enough balance, if you know what I'm saying. Obviously, we're talking about defence. Liverpool, they didn't sign any defenders, and let's be fair, I didn't think their defence would be this shocking, but it's been this shocking. And they clearly needed to sign a centre back, which they didn't do. And if they don't do in January, then God knows where they're going to finish the season. But it's just, I think the main thing for them, they need to invest in defence in the summer, in the January, and then I think they can recover, because going forward they've got good players, amazing quality players. Midfield, they've got good players. It's just the defence, and I think once they sort that out, then they can go on and do some good things. But it's crazy, really. They're just dropping points. They beat West Ham, but I knew that wasn't going to be enough to get them going. I knew that was just a one-off, because how bad we are as a team. I knew that wasn't going to be, something that people needed to base Liverpool off, if you know what I'm saying, and how they were going to be. But yeah, no, they've been way below par. Chiesa, I think, needs to play a lot more. I think they dropped Salah against West Ham, and it showed like how much better they were. I think obviously it's a bold decision, but he did it one time. I think he needs to do it more, even if it's at home. Unfortunately,
He didn't play this game either. He didn't start this game.
Did he not?
No.
Ah. Well, yeah, I don't know. They're just shocking, really. They're just shocking. But even Chiesa,
I feel like if you're going to talk about one more thing about Liverpool, I feel like
go for it, man.
the obviously Salah's not played well this season, and he was the best player last season in the league by far.
He did.
Van Dijk's fall off needs to be studied.
100%.
I don't know what's up with this guy. I feel like there's a nervousness behind him. I feel like,
but Salah did come on. By the way,
he did come on, but he didn't like start.
Sorry, that's right. Yeah. But he did play, and he was shocking. So
he did play. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But again, come off the bench, can't really give him much of a chance. Again, with a player of his quality, he should be starting games.
Yeah.
And the contract he's on should be starting games, right? And being their best player.
100%.
But then Van Dijk as well, also one of the top players in the team. Just poor, man. I feel like for the goal,
extremely poor.
I feel like he always does that where he sticks his bum out of a situation, and actually he went and scored with his bum, but for the other team. Do you know what I mean? Comes off his bum and goes in the bottom corner. It gives Alisson no chance. I feel like Van Dijk, I don't know. I can't judge Van Dijk because he's a fantastic footballer.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done so much in the game, right? But right now, I think he'll be judging himself.
Man. Yeah.
He's abysmal. And that's it, really. You can't say anymore. Kanate doesn't help him out. The defense, the fullbacks, when Kirkes came on, wasn't very good. Robertson, he's looking like he's getting on a bit. And the player that they really miss, I think, is Trent. And I know he's not the best defensive player, but he helps in both attack and defense, I would say. And they miss him a lot. And he played for Real Madrid and got a great assist. So, yeah,
I think Liverpool were lucky to even get a point out of this game, if I'm being honest, because Isidore should have scored at the end.
Now, we got to mention the Sunderland, it was a confident result, I would say. They played well. And again, like, looking at the stats, you could say Liverpool were the better team, but Sunderland, with the eye test, were the better team.
100%.
You know what I mean? They were more threatening. Every attack they had, it looked like they could score. And I feel like that's very important. Like we said, possession doesn't mean anything, really.
Yeah.
And like you said, they should have won the game right at the end. But to be fair to Chiesa, made a good run back and cleared it off the line. Don't take anything away from the striker. He should be doing so much better there. Very, very poor, and they must be very frustrated to not have left that game with a win. That's it really. I don't think they can really mention much more. It was just a 1-1 draw, expected really. I don't think many people really backed Liverpool to win that game. Now let's move on to the final game of the week. And it was the final third Classico, final third derby, and it ended as a draw, 1-1. I'll talk about West Ham because I feel like there's a lot of positives West Ham can take out of that game, and
what can we take out of that game, if I'm being honest? Yeah, obviously the result's very big. If I'm being honest, I think throughout that game we were clearly a much worse team. We were just going for the same ball every single time to Souček at right wing, which baffled me that he was even playing right wing. I saw the lineup, I'm thinking, okay, he's going to probably play Cam, and then, right wing will be Bowen. And then when I'm watching the game and I'm seeing him play right wing, I'm absolutely befuddled. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Why? It's not working. Why is he still carrying on with it? However, yes, there were some positives to take. Magassa, what a player he was, especially in this game. Obviously got the goal, which I think he fully deserved, because the way he played in that game, absolute, destroyer, winning the ball so many times and just even playing with it, he's great. Wan-Bissaka as well, showing why United should have never sold him. Defensively, not the worst. I think Diouf, unfortunately, isn't great defensively, and to be honest, I was saying to Carlos, personally, I would have loved to have seen him play left wing this game because we didn't have any wingers on the bench. Luis Guilherme, I'm not sure what's going on with him. Is he injured? Is he just whatever? But Somerville is injured, of course. So I would have loved to have seen maybe Diouf at left wing and maybe Kyle Walker-Peters at left back, and then, you could put Mateus Fernandes at cam by doing that. But again, he obviously decides to go very unorthodox with his lineup. Bowen, maybe he was a bit too selfish at points in that game, and I think he has been a bit recently. But again, he is one of our better players, and when he's on it, he wins games for us. But I think recently he hasn't been on it, and hopefully he can, hopefully that changes with him. And yeah, look, yes, positives to take, but it clearly shows when we don't have our fully fit best 11 that we struggle big time. We do. We really do, especially at creating chances. Without Somerville, we struggle to create chances, and it's not good because you can't just rely on your full 11 because injuries happen all the time. Suspensions, obviously, Lucas Paquet's dickhead ass got fucking sent off last game, which really impacted this game because then we're going to have to fucking play Souček right wing for some reason and Bowen Cam. Yeah, you know what I mean? Whereas if he didn't get sent off, he probably plays Cam, whatever, or at least, you know what I mean? Just changes it. But, yeah, no, I think when we've got our fully fit first 11, we can be a threat and we can win games. But yeah, no, just not enough depth, if I'm being honest. Even when you look at the players that came off the bench, yes, fair play to Irving. He got, he was the one that took the corner for us to get the goal. Respect. Mohamedou Kante, I think he's an exciting youngster, and I can't wait to see maybe more of him as well. But again, we just don't have enough depth. When you really look at the bench, you just look at like who the hell do you bring on? Because going forward, there's no one to bring on except for Marshall, and that's it. So yeah, so I think we need to do a lot of investing in the attack probably as well as the defense. So yeah, but Todibo as well, he deserves some respect as well, with some credit because he was good this game as well. So yeah.
Where do I get started? Listen, I feel like this is obviously West Ham will take the draw and hold on to it very tight. Me, I don't want to draw. In that game, in the context of the game, we should have won that game. Simple as that. We had the chances. There were goal line clearances. There was a good save from Areola. But honestly, we did not create a clear-cut chance in that game, really. I wouldn't say there was not one chance for Joshua Zirkzee, for Mbeumo, for Cunha. Now, they didn't have their best games, and let's be honest, they weren't really involved in the game at all. I didn't really notice them, to be honest. But they're attackers and they're not getting any chances. The midfield, I honestly believe that Magassa and Potts bossed it. And I said this in the
Previous
prediction video. It's poor, man. It's so poor. We have a midfield that has no legs. Bruno Fernandes is not a midfielder, and he's not even getting enough involved in the game. Like the assists he got in the last game are from set pieces. Now, fair play to him for being good at set plays, but if we don't score a set play, what do we do? The goal we scored today was so lucky. Casemiro has a deflected cross, falls into the path of Dalot, and if he misses, it's one of the misses of the season. Do you know what I mean? He scored, so fair play to him. Not being one of the players that we sort of look at and say, but fair play to him for getting the goal. But honestly, I don't know where to I can talk so long about United and what our problems are, but for the people that are saying it on the manager, I feel like, with all due respect, that's pretty brain dead. And that's just my opinion. I feel like you look at the players, you look at the squad, we're progressively getting worse. We can have any manager and we're progressively getting worse. I don't think it's on the manager. I feel like if we had Mourinho in this period, it would be terrible. I think if we had Van Gaal in this period, it would be terrible. I think if we had Moyes, it would be terrible. And vice versa. If you had maybe Mourinho over there, we would have still been bad. I just think we're getting progressively worse because the football club is just run like a piece of crap. And that's just how it is. You can say we spend loads of money, but do we invest it in the correct positions? No. I mean, look at Cunha and Mbeumo. There are two big signings this summer. They had none of the ball because we have no midfield to play the ball to them. This is the problem. We invest in the wrong places, and then when we start to invest in the midfield, we get other positions where we need to invest in as well, and we won't invest there. Look at the fullbacks. I mean, that's been an issue this season now because Dalot's playing at left back, where Dorgu, who was our signing in last January, he's a young player. He needs time to embed, but we don't have a left back. In right back, Ahmad, okay, to be fair, attacking was very good, but defensively isn't very good. The goal kind of came from his side in terms of the corner. I know it's a corner, but I'm pretty sure he was the closest to Magassa, and he didn't mark him very well. Yeah, I don't know. And especially, look, with Mateus de Ligt out, a major loss. I feel like we could have bossed the game a lot more. I feel like he's a big presence in defence. I feel like Wilson bullied Heaven. And listen, it's not fair to play him as a central centre back in a game like this in the Premier League. You need to ease someone like him in. I feel like Yoro came on and did much better, and obviously I feel
100%.
like much higher ceiling. So to come off from that performance, and again, I can talk so long about United, but I feel like if you're Ruben Amorim out, it's complete. You're completely misdirecting your frustrations. It should be at the team.
Yeah.
There is a lack of quality in that team, and
Agreed.
I blame the ownership. It's on Ineos. It's on the Glazers as well for not investing correctly in the team. You can spend loads of money, but if you don't spend it in the correct places, what's the point? Yeah. Listen, I could talk so much about Man United and I could waffle and talk, but venting my frustration is just not going to help at all. I feel like the insight of the game, better team on paper. Realistically, West Ham were, good. And the style of football as well. I'll give that one thing against Ruben Amorim. It's not a good style of football at all. We're playing long throws. And I mean, how many long throws did we have that game? We watched the game together,
literally.
didn't we? It's taken the piss at this point. Take a short throw, put a cross in. I'd rather that than just long throw after long throw after long throw, relying on set pieces. We're turning into Arsenal. It's horrible. It's horrible to watch. I want to see Man United be a team who attacks constantly. Even under Oli, we were a great counter-attacking side. Now, I can't say that's on Amorim because we don't have the players to play his system. So, yeah, I'm going to stop before I go on to another madness. But, yeah, that is the games for this weekend done. Or midweek, sorry. And we will go on to the predictions for the weekend games. But I feel like before we do that, we'll just add the leaderboard just to show sort of what's going on. I feel like I caught up by like 1 point, if I'm not mistaken.
You have, yes, yeah.
By 1 point. Listen, step by step. Again, there's a couple more games after the season. We're not even halfway through yet. You never know. Hopefully, I do not get that forfeit. Anyway, let's give our predictions for the next game. We'll give Hassan's prediction.
I'll pop it up. I'll pop it up.
We'll pop up. That's it. We don't have it at the moment, so we'll pop it up when we get them. Let's go on to the first game. It's Aston Villa versus Arsenal. What did you put for that game, Al?
I've gone 2-1 Villa.
Ooh. I mean, you don't like Arsenal, so there we are.
Yeah.
I've gone 1-1.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Now let's go on to the Bournemouth and Chelsea game.
Yeah, I've gone 3-1 Chelsea.
I've gone 2-1 Chelsea. Both teams not playing very well, so
yeah, exactly.
I think it's fair. Now Everton versus Nottingham Forest.
I've gone 1-1.
Interesting. I've gone 1-0 Everton.
Fair enough.
So yeah. Man City Sunderland.
I've gone 2-1 City.
Okay. I've gone 3-2 City. I feel like it'd be quite a close game. Newcastle Burnley.
I've gone 3-1 Newcastle.
I've gone 3-0 Newcastle. Tottenham versus Brentford.
I've gone 3-1 Brentford.
I've gone 2-1 Brentford. Leeds versus Liverpool.
Gone 2-0 Liverpool, but I'm not that confident in it, to be honest.
I've gone 2-1 Liverpool. I feel like this one we should probably discuss it maybe a little bit. I feel like with Liverpool, we've seen they've been poor, but I feel like they
still have the quality to win these kind of games, bro. You know what I mean?
So I feel like this is a type of game they need to win.
But the only thing that makes me a bit unconfident in this prediction is the fact that Leeds at home, it's not an easy game.
True.
And Liverpool aren't doing great. So that's what I'll say.
Listen, we think Liverpool are going to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if even Leeds won. I feel like that's definitely a possibility.
Oh, 100%.
It can go either way.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's that game. Brighton versus West Ham.
I've gone 3-1 Brighton. Sorry, West Ham, my own team, but
I agree with that. I've gone 3-1 Brighton, and I feel like, it's quite a fair prediction. Fulham versus Crystal Palace.
2-1 Palace.
I've gone 1-0 Palace. And the final game of the week, again, always Man United. Wolves versus Man United.
2-0 United.
I've gone with 2-1 United. I just want to mention 1 point about that game. I feel like if Wolves somehow get a result or a win, it will be against us. Because I know Al talks about West Ham being the charity of the Premier League. Believe you me, Man United, when teams really, really need it, they somehow lose or win or whatever, you know what I mean, in the situation. So, yeah, that is that done. So, yeah, before we end the video, let's, Al, do you want to give us the quiz for the next player?
Yes, I do. The first fact is, before moving to the Premier League, he spent a season on loan at FC Den Bosch, where he saved 3 penalties in one campaign. Second fact, in his first Premier League season, he finished second in the league for total saves behind only Joe Hart. Third fact, he won Swansea City's Player of the Year award in his debut season 2011-12, rare for a goalkeeper. And for the fourth fact, he later joined Tottenham Hotspur, where he mainly served as the backup of Hugo Lloris. And for the fifth fact, he was part of the Netherlands squad that finished third at the 2014 World Cup, coming on specifically so every squad member would appear in the tournament. Let us know if you know who that is in the comments, and we'll of course reveal him in the next episode.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you very much for that, Al. Yeah, like we said, hopefully Hassan can be in the next video, but really appreciate it. If you guys want to leave your predictions for match week 15, also do that. And if you have any points about the games that were discussed in the midweek, also leave your comments down below. We love the interaction. Hopefully we can interact to you. And yeah, thank you guys for coming in. Please leave a like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you get notified when we upload videos, and we will see you on the next one. Take care, guys.
Take care.